Good to see you, and welcome back to the North East.
Thank you very much.
A long time away, because I mean it all started for you in Hartleool, of course, John.
Quite a while ago, obviously. 66 World Cup year. Started my career, got my foot on the ladder, as they say. First apprentice the club ever had, and then obviously Brian Clough took over as manager, and my progress into the first team came very, very quickly, and obviously was involved in the promotion for the first time in the club's history, and was absolutely delighted to be a member of the side.
Memories of that first season, in the promotion winning season?
Well, it was a great season for us. Obviously, Brian Clough had left the club. Angus MacLean had taken over as the manager, and thankfully we managed to improve from the season before. And with a great late run, we actually managed to pull it off. And the not unique thing, but quite strange thing about it was that we played Swansea away at Swansea on the Monday night, won promotion, and thankfully had the last game of the season at home against Swansea again, to a big house. I think there was about 11,000 there, which was a massive gate in those days for Hartlepool United, and it was just a tremendous time to celebrate making history for the club.
Any particular memories? Obviously promotion was massive for you, but anything else that you remember well about your times at the Vic?
Well, I just, when you become an apprentice, I think, well, with a chance I'll get into the first team, but thankfully I got into the first team very, very quickly and learned from some great players that I played with. Tony Parry was a player that taught me an awful lot. Les Green, the goalkeeper, when I first joined, he actually taught me an awful lot as well, and used to come back in the afternoons to help me improve my crossing, because in those days I was an outside right. Just a great bunch of lads, and I think you find that with every successful team, that they are a good bunch of guys as well as being good footballers.
Any memories of the town in Hartlepool? What do you recall?
Well, I lived on what they call the Central Estate, in between the old town, the fishing port, and West Hartlepool, and I just obviously went to school initially there after moving down from Scotland when I was 7 years of age, so I grew up there, enjoyed my schooling there. Still got a very good friend, Kenny Jessup, that lives in Hartlepool, who I played with for Central Park, which was my only season in junior football.
And it was rugby your background, because that seems to be the thing. Was that way, were you destined to play rugby then?
Well, I loved all sport, and past my 11 plus, went to Henry Smith Grammar School, and captained the cricket team for 3 years, captained the rugby team for 3 years, and at one stage wanted to be a tennis player.
Absolutely everything. And of course you mentioned the connection with Cloughie, which was like phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. We often talk about people lifting trophies from Hartlepool, and there's not many with a connection from Hartlepool who'll do what you have done in the history of the game.
Well, obviously I owed a lot of it to Brian Clough, because he took me to Derby County after the Hartlepool promotion, and then he took me to Leeds United, and then eventually to Nottingham Forest, where he made me captain of the side, and I'd served my apprenticeship well at the other clubs, and really had the best time of my career at Nottingham Forest, where we not only won the league but consecutive European Cups, which was quite a feat following promotion.
You've travelled with him from Hartlepool, from the Vic, through to the final stages really at the Forest. Did he change a lot, or was he always the same?
He was always the same, and the only word to describe Brian Clough was unique. He was different from any other manager. His approach was different from any other manager, and Peter Taylor, who was his partner, made him probably even better than he was when he was on his own. So he had a great foil in Peter Taylor, and between them they were just magnificent at dealing with players and making you feel like you were important when perhaps you weren't quite as confident yourself, and made you a better player with his coaching tips as you went through your career. So magnificent pair, and Clough himself just quite exceptional at handling players and making you feel comfortable when you walked out onto a football field, or should I say ran out, which we used to.
Highlights, obviously you're going to talk about Notts Forest and holding that trophy aloft twice, the European Cup. Just amazing that you achieved that from a lad from the Central Estate, really, who did well earned his ground on the Central Estate quite a few years before that.
Well, I think that I loved the game of football more than anything else, and it was before the big money came into the game, so every small success that you had was very, very much appreciated. And right through to my last days at Forest, of course, I was always trying to become a better player, because Brian Clough set you very high standards, expected you to try and reach those high standards, and if you apply yourself properly, and you have the fortune that I did of playing with some very, very good players and some great players, then you're bound to improve yourself. But you must have your application, you must have your dedication, and I quite willingly gave that to football because I just loved playing the game.
Hartlepool these days, spinning on quite a few years from the promotion days in your era in the 60s. What's your thoughts now? Because I know you've visited the Vic several times since your days in the 60s.
Well, I still look for the result on a Saturday. That's one thing for sure. And obviously the Victoria ground, I remember playing in the first game they had there under floodlights, which was a real occasion for me and for the club also. But I've heard recently that they're in the process of getting the ground back or buying the ground back, and that would be tremendous because I think every town needs a successful football team, and let's just hope that Hartlepool's fortunes turn around and they become exactly that.
And you would support that then? You would say, fantastic idea that council get together and give the club Iowa the support and give them the ground, yeah?
Football clubs are the focal point of most towns and cities, and I think that there's a good feel-good factor around the town if you get a successful football team. But to get back to owning the ground would be a tremendous step in the right direction for improving the club.
And generally all around there's a great buzz about the club now, isn't it? It's changed totally since your days when really it was a bit of a joke, wasn't it? And how you managed promotion in 67, 68 is unbelievable, really. But look at it now, and it's certainly held in a lot high esteem, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, it certainly is. I can remember we had a squad of I think 14 players. That was in the good old days where at Easter you used to play 3 games in 4 days. With a squad of 14 we still didn't get tired, so if you hear about the modern footballers getting tired, it's just an excuse.
It's great to see you. It really is good to see you working these days. Just tell us briefly about your involvement now at Forest and your after dinner speaking and your radio stuff. With your media very busy, yeah?
Well, obviously I covered all the Forest matches home and away, and for the home matches I also have time to look after the match sponsors, so in a sense I'm still working for the club, although it's off the field now. But it's really enjoyable to have a job with such variety, talking to different people, successful business people and genuine supporters. As always, I just enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm very fortunate to be in that way.
And we thank you for supporting Billingham Town tonight. It's a great function with Tony Mowbray and yourself, and again these local teams and non-league teams really do need their support as well from the financial sources, yeah?
Yeah, they certainly do. Football clubs need all the help they can get. When you come outside the Premier League, where they're playing for millions and millions of pounds, the lower clubs always need people that are willing to give a helping hand in any way, shape or form. You know, whether it's on a Saturday or a Sunday in local football, people helping to put the nets up or marking out the pitch or looking after the ground. You know, it's a real family when you're involved even in junior clubs, and if they get on well and they're enthusiastic, then they enjoy it also. Certainly a focal point of every town or city, and the local clubs are needed because you never know. Just occasionally, like myself, who played 1 season in junior football, somebody will have a look at you and think, well, that lad's got a little bit about him, so we'll give him a chance. I was given a chance and thankfully accepted it, you know, with both hands and went on to better things. I was just pleased that my career started at Hartlepool, because everything from then on in, where I got upwards in the leagues and got to winning major trophies, you still look back at the days and think, well, that was a fantastic apprenticeship, and I wouldn't have changed that for anything.
Good to see you, and thanks for turning out tonight. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.